oh, well, this ad didn't work here. Let's try it here. They changed the audience.
Yeah. But it's
the same ad.
Yep.
What the
Even in the testing phase, it'll be like that then?
Yeah, bro. What does that testing? What the does that mean?
Well, that's what ad companies say. They're like, what are testing say?
Hey, we're testing this.
Yeah.
In a week and a half, you run that same ad, you're gonna be in the same position you are today. So look, your cost per click is 4 times normal. Crazy, dude.
Yeah, that's not good. Finding people that will actually point out the wrong with it and call it out is a very rare trait these days. So I got into fitness sophomore, junior high school. I became an in-person trainer for a gym, but subcontracted. So I was my own boss still, doing all that stuff. And then I started training just competitors online. So I've been doing that for like 12 years now. I came into the elite program, Elite CEOs, the mastermind first. And the first month in, I'm going through everything and they're like, okay, yeah, charge this. And so Dave, my coach at the time, was like, yeah, you need to charge whatever, $2,000 for 3 months. I'm like, $2,000? That's so much money. Like, I didn't even charge that in person, right? And I'm like, there's no way anyone's gonna buy this, right? So then we had just sold all our stuff in Washington, all our vehicles, everything, rented a house in Tennessee and moved to Texas. Literally, it was your guarantee that got me. I'm like, well, I know I can do everything they say. So worst case scenario, I get my money back or I'll make the money. So signed up. And then the first month in was, watching the modules and stuff. So about month and a half in, I had done 27,000. So I was like, oh, this works. So I'm hoping whether it's, more, better, new, right? Whether I got to shift, whether I got to increase output, whether I got to change the approach in what I'm doing. I'm not entirely sure where that's at. Maybe it's a tracking issue. Maybe it's a management issue. I just don't know where the leaky holes in my boat are, so to speak. I know it's leaking somewhere, but I'm not sure where.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, man.
Thanks for coming.
Yep.
Where'd you come from?
Texas. Your home,
awesome,
your home area. Yeah.
Cool. Are you in Houston? Or?
No, I'm up in more towards Fort Worth.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool, man.
Transplant up there though. We moved out there like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So it was quite the leap up because I was selling much more lower ticket. Like I thought, $350 a month was high when it comes to
so online
coaching.
and in person.
Yep.
Okay. And now you're full-time?
Full-time online.
Online.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I won't do in person anymore.
Okay.
So right now we're $25K a month. I've hit as high as like 40 to 50, low end 50%, up to 70% if it's more warm. Okay. So I don't think it's a close issue. But the influx of leads is where last month I was out sick, vacation for a week, but I only had like 7 sales.
Walk me through your team real quick. So who do you have on your team?
So right now I have, which is one of my messengers. Yeah.
Okay, it's a messenger? Okay.
Yep.
And then what else?
And then I have a nighttime one. So
okay, so just say like another messenger.
Yeah, so two full-time messengers, 35 hours a week. Okay. And then one I just have going out in the evening, just pitching more accounts, just opening lines.
Like cold DM.
Yep.
DM. Okay.
And then I have one other coach, and she's been there for like a year.
Okay.
And then me, and I do the closing and coaching.
Cool. Okay, so you're doing closing coaching. How much do you pay these people?
So the messengers are at $15 an hour.
Okay, it's not bad.
And then a $25 spiff if they get a close. Like the person comes on the call and I close them.
And they get a $25 bonus.
Yep.
Okay.
And then
do they get anything if you just close it and it's not a piff?
No. The close is the $25. So nothing for just book.
Oh, got it. Oh, so they get a pretty decent bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty decent bonus. Okay, so 15 an hour. Okay.
And then the other messenger, she's from like South Africa, so she's like
right. So she just starts messages.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And then my coach, I pay her $75 a client, and then if they're a re-sign client, I give her a 10% of the total resale plus $125 a month after.
Okay, so just so I'm clear, if you re-sign them, they get 10%. So if it's $3,000, they get $300 plus they get $125.
Yep.
Okay, got it. Okay, so that's good. Your expenses are good. There's nothing crazy. Okay.
So I hired another company in there. They do like more of a percent thing. I'm not sold on doing anything.
So
we'll get
to that. But I think like the thing you might need to do is you got to learn it.
Okay.
It's like if you outsource sales.
Yep.
The problem is that when you outsource, you don't really know what the problem is. And so they're going to tell you what the problem is, but then you don't really know, right? You get what I'm saying? So they're like, well, it's this, it's your messenger, it's your set, it's your leads, it's your funnel.
Yeah.
The reality is like, because you're not doing it, you're just like, okay. And then like another month goes by and you're like, right. So you're pretty much doing this organically.
Yeah, that's all organic.
Okay, so like, how does your organic work? Like, is it mostly coming from like this outreach, and then you follow up, or what's it coming from?
We're mostly on IG. We'll tap into Facebook. So I have a.
When you say we, who's we?
Me and my team.
Okay, got it. No, I didn't know if you had like a business partner.
No. Just me. So on Facebook, I have like 5,000 on my personal account. My business account's like 3,300. So the interaction's pretty decent with those. And I've been in the personal training industry since I was 19.
So it's like, but I'm trying to understand, is it a lot of referrals? Is it outreach?
No, it's mostly outreach, but we get a lot of followers in there and past clients or people that know someone I've done work with, right? So like lukewarm.
I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, bro, that's a lot. That's a lot of, that's pretty good money. Like, cause I was at my peak organic, I was doing 50.
Well, and that's what I figured. Like, I figured the ceiling had to be somewhere in there.
You're around there. Like, so if this is your ceiling, like that's about the ceiling for organic.
Yeah,
like unless like, now something I'm testing out, I can let you know, but something we're testing out is we have VAs. Well, so it's a VA service. Well, it's not even a VA service. I'm gonna let you know how it works. We're gonna test in a couple weeks. Here's what we're gonna do. For one cell phone, you have 5 accounts.
Okay.
So I don't know if you know this, but what you could do, and this could actually help you scale. Yeah. So let's start with the organic. We'll get into the ads because that's obviously probably your bottleneck. So team's good. So you're checked there. Nothing wrong there. This service, so typically what happens is if you have one cell phone, so if you go on Facebook or Instagram right now, you can add up to 5 accounts. So let's say you had like, Cody Watkins, and then like you have like Cody Watkins 1, whatever. And then like whatever. Yeah. What happens is you can have separate accounts, then you can actually outreach from all the accounts.
Okay? So you're saying like starting multiple Instagrams or multiple Facebooks. Yeah.
So what's interesting is like I actually know a VA service where what they do is they pay straight commission.
Yeah.
They sell, now this one sells teeth whitening, but they have 200 VAs.
Okay.
So they literally have, what is it, about 30 something cell phones, like 30 to 40 cell phones. And then each VA has 5 accounts per cell phone, and they do it. So the owner literally pays for like all the cell phones.
So it's like hyper cold then.
Yeah, like they're literally cold. So it's like as cold as it gets, right? Yeah. So that's like something that I'm gonna test and look into, because like with Elite COs, we still have bottlenecks as well. And I'm like, well, look, if we could have a VA service that just outreaches to people, even if it's like very minimal sales, like if they only get paid commission. So these are usually foreign, like, I don't know if it would work for foreign, but my point is like, it's full commission. So if they f up, you're not spending anything. It's not like this, like it's not like $15 an hour. Okay. Or you could have one cell phone, but you have 1 million SIM cards, but I don't know. I think that's retarded. Like, so what I would probably have is like, and again, you don't have to buy that many to start, but you could buy a couple cell phones and you test it out. And then basically like you would give the cell phone to the VA, and then like, I guess if the VA screwed you or something, I guess the only issue is like if you're paying for all these cell phones and stuff. But long story short, it'd be a lot cheaper than like hourly and stuff like that.
Well, most of the lines are cheap though. So
super cheap, right? It'd probably be the phone. Unless they had their own phone, you're good to go. And then like they could have one for them. And like honestly, what you do is probably just hire them. They could just use their phone. And it sounds like your sales rate is pretty good. What's your price point?
So if I go, she's a little bit less. She's between 2,000 and 3,000. So 3-month and 6-month package. And then I'll do mine for 2,500 to 4,000.
Okay. And then like right now when you run your ads or like what you've done in the past, walk me through the funnels you've had.
We've tried a few ones. And so like when I went with Elite Ads, they were going funnel to VSL. I don't think my VSL is that good.
Right, personally. But it was Messenger and then
no Messenger. They tried straight VSL first.
Did they no opt-in page?
The opt-in and then in the VSL.
Okay, so it's like this, right?
So
it's like an opt-in, then it's VSL, and then it's a call, right? Okay, what else have you tried?
And then and then we did a lot of Messenger ads because we were doing so good on organic. It made sense to get them.
So it was probably like this, and then it was like a VSL, and then it was a call, right?
Yep. And then, and most of the time, I would skip the VSL. We just go Messenger right to call. Because if we already had them in their messaging and they were
so they can book from either way. Is all I'm saying is like, so you still would have like Messenger would activate. They click a link, the link takes them here, and they can book either way.
And then when we were doing the ads, it was like follow up, like 7 follow-ups per ad. When I'm doing organic, it's more like 3. But
oh wow, you're following up a lot.
Well, that's what they told us in there, and I'm like, okay, it makes sense. So it'd be like 3 within like the first 3 or 4 hours, then the next day, depending if they responded, right? Then we'd ease back a little bit.
What do they cost you a month?
So right now we're a week and a half, 2 weeks in, so they're still in like testing at like $30 to $50 a day.
No, but what are you paying them?
Oh no, they're going to do a commission of sales.
Okay, so it's literally only that. Is there a reason like they're willing to do that?
Because if they can scale you, the margins are better than doing a flat retainer like $3,000 a month.
So what do they get per sales?
So 20% up to 50K of the sales they generate, and that's cash collected, not contracted.
Right. So for example, if you did 100 grand, they get 20,000.
They get 10% after 50K. So from 50 to 100 is 10% up to 50K 20.
So you're spending 30 to 50 bucks a day, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I think here's the big thing.
Yep.
Like there's no benefit, in my opinion, for you spending less than 100 a day.
Okay.
I would spend at least $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
And here's why. Like on average, do you know what your costs are, like your lead costs and stuff?
Yeah, so my cost per acquisition is closer to 400 to 500. And then the good call rates we look for are 150 per call. Before we were getting like 15 to 20 bucks a lead.
Man, really? That seems kind of high.
Well, and that's the thing. Like if every time we got the dollar down, they were trolls. Like it.
Interesting. I'll look at your stuff. So 15 and 20 bucks a lead, 150 bucks an app.
Yep.
Okay, that's not bad. And then you said it's 400 to 500 per sale.
Yep.
That's not bad either. Okay, so my question is like, if this is accurate, then why are you having issues scaling?
Because every time we went to increase ad spend or anything, the ads would break. So like
meaning like the quality's not good.
The quality was off on there. So these were the numbers we would aim for, and then I would see the lead cost just go through the roof.
Okay, so these are the numbers you're looking for, but it's not what you usually hit.
No, so like I don't know enough about ads to know what's good or what's not.
That's not good because so look, if we're trying to get a lead for every 15 bucks, you should get at least 3 leads a day. So if you've been running it, so let's just say 30.
Even in the testing phase, it'll be like that then.
Yeah, bro. What does that test? What does that mean?
Well, that's what ad companies say.
That's
what
they
testing say.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit. So I can look at it. So the reality of where your business is at, and I think I said this to you, is like if you don't figure this out, you'll keep making the same amount. Period. So let's look at the different issues. It could be you're not as good at sales because the issue is like when they're colder leads, you have to actually be better because there's less trust. The next thing that's more than likely is Messenger. Okay. The next issue it could be is the application.
Okay.
And then probably from here, I'd say like the ad itself. More than likely. So what we need to do is we just need to dive in and look at everything. And then as I look at everything, should be able to tell you. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have you share. I'll sit next to you so we don't have to you're not like looking at my screen. So this is the one they're doing, right? Okay, so I wanna show you what's going on. So this is not good and I'm gonna show you why. So they're doing engagement. Okay, that's fine. All that means is like typically like what engagement does. Like, so when you do, so like I'll walk you through this. So like when you start a campaign, what you do is you're choosing what you do. So you can either do engagement, right? So you can do for Messenger and stuff like that. You can also do sales, okay? Typically my team also does engagement. I can't remember the reason why, but I believe that's accurate for what you want to do. Now the concern I have is watch. Like, okay, so let's say we go to here. So if you look, like they spent $55 and you didn't get a single messaging conversation. Okay, so like the issue, dude, is like that already is a massive issue because if you're trying to get a $10 lead, you can't. How can you possibly win if you're paying $100 a lead?
No, you can't. You can't. Yeah.
So there's no such like when they're saying testing and all this bullshit, like that doesn't. It doesn't like it's either working or it's not. So here's the ad you're running. So let's take a look at what your ad says. Okay. So it's a Five Guys type ad. So I get asked all the time, how have you empowered numerous healthcare experts to shed 25 to 30 pounds while juggling their demand? This is my response. All right. And then let's see. Can you like swipe on the ad? I mean, it looks like you can. So let's go. Hold on. Okay. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Send Instagram message. Okay. All right. So here's what I want to teach you about ads. Like there's no such thing as like this testing bull. Testing is like, so this is good news in a little sense. So like this says you got a lead at $12, but the problem is like overall, if you're looking, you're not getting leads at a low enough clip. So like no matter what happens, if you can't get leads cheaper, you're like this does not work.
So would it be like you shut the other ones down, pump it into that one?
No. So what that means is like your ad's not connecting.
Okay.
Like you're just like people are not clicking on your ad, which means you have an ad issue. So when we go look at this is the ad you're running. So the first thing I would do is like you don't need to spend $60 to figure that out. Like if you're for you to be successful, you need to spend about 10 to 15 bucks a lead. So I'm going to teach you ads here.
Okay.
If you've spent $15 and you haven't gotten a lead, I usually would shut it off. So after 3 days, if you haven't gotten a single lead, turn that off. Like there's no reason to let that run for forever. So these guys, in my opinion, this is a waste of your money, in my opinion. Like why? The reason ads don't work is the costs are too high.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So your issue here is like this doesn't work. I don't give a if you closed every lead like that. That's too high. Like this is 3 times as much. That's 6 times as much. Now this up here works, but the issue is what? Well, you've only gotten 1 lead. So like you basically spent. I mean, dude, look, you've spent $400
and got 1 lead basically.
4. I mean, that's fucking horrible. So if you're trying to get 10 bucks a lead, you're spending 10 times more than you're supposed to.
So then,
this is not this testing. In my opinion, they need to cut the ad set way sooner. Like there's no reason to let this run that long. So now let's look at these other ones. So if we come up here, let's see the new ad you're running. So hopefully they're running a new ad. They're not, they're running the same ad. So to me, it's like the ad is not good enough because no one's clicking on it.
And it's not managed well enough because it's not getting shut down.
Well, right. So every ad agency will tell you something different. But keep it here for a second. So let's say that you don't want to spend more than 15 bucks a lead. I would typically tell a fitness guy, if you're spending more than 15 bucks a lead, you're So what I would do for you is, or what I would recommend you do is, like, let's say per day you're spending $5 to $10 per day per ad set. Now, do you know when I say an ad set? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, each individual.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you spend over $15 and there's no lead, I would turn that off because, like, if you're in a casino and you're gambling, if you're not getting results, are you going to keep doing the same thing, or you're like, all right, cut it and then let's try something else? So, like, you see this?
Yeah.
As soon as that hits $15, I'd turn that off immediately.
How often do you
move
watch
it?
them?
Well, so let's do the math. So if you're spending $6 a day, you don't have to go in for the third day.
Okay.
There's no point.
Yep.
What's the difference between you spending $6 a day or $15 a day? Like, tell me the difference. So
it's $9, but
well, no, but what would the difference be? Like, so let's just say all of this was spending 15 a day versus 6. What's the difference? Besides, you spent more money.
I mean, I would be getting a lead a day off each one instead of waiting for 2.
You get data faster.
Yep.
So I want you to understand, by you going slow like this, what they're telling you is like, oh, we're testing, we're going slow. But to be frank with you, but all you're doing is you're taking 3 days to get the same data that you could get in 1 day if you just spent 15. Here's what I want you to understand. Until this hits $15, you don't really know if it worked or not.
Yep.
So you're taking 3 days when you could just do it in 1 day.
Yep.
$6 to $15 is not a big enough jump to change the algorithm. Like, if you went from like 15 to like 15,000, yeah.
Okay.
So let's just say you spend $3,000 a month, so it's $100 a day.
Okay.
So 100 divided by 15 is about 6, so I'd have 6 different ad sets per day, okay? Now, the reason you're not getting results right now is we're gonna go by performance and clicks. So let's look at some of the data so you can read it. So let's go through this. Okay, so first off, attribution setting. That's just 7 days, 1 day. That doesn't mean anything, you're fine. Results is the results you've gotten, so like total amount of messages, okay? Reach is how many people have seen it, okay? Frequency is how often the same person's seen it. So when it's at 1, that means people have seen it once. When it's at 2, it means they've seen it twice. When it's at 3, so typically when you're retargeting ads, the frequency you want it at like 4. So like, you've probably seen my ads a million times. The reason you're seeing it is we're retargeting you high frequency. Okay. So we're like, yo, get this motherfucker to buy.
Yeah.
When you're running cold ads, you want this low. When you're retargeting, you want the number high. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so let's go to the next thing. Cost per result. Like, dude, this is horrible. Like, this is horrible.
When you say retargeting high, 4 or above?
Usually up to 4.
Okay.
You don't want it more than 4. It doesn't have to be 4, but usually, like retargeting, you want people to see your stuff 3 or 4 times on frequency. If it gets above that, then you turn the ad spend down. So you're turning the ad spend up high enough that it's like, hey, Cody, and you're like, oh my God, Tanner, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Okay, so this is a good number. So this one I would leave on. Okay, but I don't think you want more than $15 lead cost. So if this gets to $15, in my opinion, you should turn it off. You should turn it off. Now, some ad agencies will disagree because they'll go, well, if I let it run longer, maybe he'll get one later. But I'm like, dude, it's like, $15 is already really high for a fitness offer. So I'm like, if he hasn't gotten a lead in the first 15, like gun to your head, you have $100 every day. Are you like, hey, do you want to try a new one or do you want to do the same one?
I'm gonna bank on that one.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, do a new one, right? You know, it's like, hey, you asked this girl out yesterday, it didn't work. Do you want to ask her again or a new girl? I'm like, oh, I want to try a new girl. That's kind of how you look at it, okay? Okay, so your cost per impressions are not that high. So here's another thing I want you to look at. So sometimes when the lead cost is high, what that means is that you're paying a lot for people to see it. So cost per impression means that for every $33 you're spending, you're getting 1,000 people to see it. Okay, so for this one, for every $31, 1,000 people saw it. Okay, so what that means is you're having to spend, right? The impression cost means if you spent 31 bucks, 1,000 people would see it. So if only 380 people have seen it, that's only because you've only spent a little bit, a little bit of money. Okay. Now over here, you're actually getting a lot of link clicks, but what this means is people are clicking and then they're not coming through your ads. You've had 29 total clicks, but the issue too is like, look how high your cost per click is. That's super high.
That's where the cost per message should
look
be.
at this. You paid $56 to get one click. That's fucking insane.
And where should that be?
Dude, that should be like $3 or less.
Okay.
So look, your cost per click is 4 times normal. Crazy, dude.
Yeah, that's not good.
Okay. That's pretty much all you need to look through.
Okay.
Okay. And then this is trash as well. So your click-through rate is 0.22. It needs to be 1% at least. You're fucking trash. Okay. So what does that tell me? Okay, so let's do learning.
Yep.
Okay, so I want to teach you a couple things. All right. Low CTR. Okay, means ad sucks. Okay. So when you have a low CTR, what's the issue? The ad is the issue.
Yep. So
because
that could
if you're not gaining a 1% click through, so think about it. If you have low CTR, what are you going to have?
Well, everything else.
Well, you're going to have high lead cost, right? If you have high lead cost, what do you have? High app cost. If you have high app cost, what do you have? High sales cost. So your fucking issue right now, and this is just looking at the data. This is like fact. This is not emotions. You're because your ad sucks. How do I know your ad sucks? This is too low.
Well, the numbers.
So you have to know. This is what I mean by you learning. You have to know that you need 1-3% CTR. So you could go to the fucking ad guys and go, hey guys, you changed the audiences, but what does it matter? Look, they changed the audience.
But it's the same
ad. What the So this is what gets me pissed off. So it's like, oh, well, this ad didn't work here. Let's try it here. It's like, what they might say is go, well, yeah, it didn't work these audiences, but it didn't work here. Dude, if you've ran 12 audiences and all of them are clicking that bad, it's an ad issue. Now, when you run ads at a high level, like, so let's say I find a good ad, okay? What you're gonna see when you know it's a good ad is you're getting consistently, not every audience works, but consistently you're gonna see like, let's say out of 10 ad sets, you have a 1 to 3% click through out of like, let's say 7 out of 10 of them. On yours, they're all below 1. So it's like, it's an ad issue. It's not an audience issue. Because if you run that same ad over and over, I can already guarantee you, try it, test it, keep doing it for the next month. And I bet you at the end of the month, the ad will still not work. It's an ad issue. So what that tells me is like, you need to find a better ad, okay? Try to find people in the space that are doing well. So like a guy you could look at, he's one of our old clients. Right now, he's doing like in a month.
Oh yeah, he's the one who targets the guys making over 100K. He's got
excellent
you could
look at him. You could look at like a guy named has good ads. He's a friend of mine. Okay. You could look at, I mean, the big thing is like the ad just has to hit. And so like right now you're doing that carousel, maybe do an image, maybe do a video, maybe like until you change the ad, you know, the guy's like, hey, we're testing this. In a week and a half, you run that same ad, you're gonna be in the same position you are today. Like, so the ad, you gotta change the ad. So what I want you to focus on, this is your takeaway, is until your ad is 1 to 3%, you are f***ed, okay, period. Now, what's gonna happen when your ad gets to 1 to 3%? Guess what? The lead cost will probably be below 15. Great, guess what? Now we're getting somewhere. Then what's gonna happen? Probably, you're gonna get an app for less than 150. Why? Well, do you remember what we did? Sorry, this doesn't make sense. Do you remember what I said earlier? How many leads do you usually need to get one application?
Oh, so like the total messages on there?
Yeah, so let's say you got, how many leads do you need to get one person to book a call typically?
Well, I mean, off those numbers, it'd be 10.
10. It's usually 10. So it could be more, but so look. So if you're getting a lead for $15, then what does that mean? If your processes are perfect,
then
you're
the app process
you're gonna get an app for $150. Isn't that what you said you wanted? And then how many apps does it take to usually get a sale?
3.
It takes 10 apps. Remember? So look. Oh yeah, so it depends, but typically I would say worst case is 10.
Okay.
Right. So and you're correct because I said it to you earlier, so I apologize. So typically, the most it's going to take you now business it usually takes 1 out of 10. For fitness, it's usually 3 to 5.
Okay.
Right? Because you're going to close at a higher clip because it's a lower priced product. So let's just say for you, like you really want to get a sale for every 100. Like you really want to get a sale typically for like every, especially if you're doing like $200 a month, like pretty much like every 3 to 4 apps.
Okay.
So out of 10 apps, you probably want like, let's say 3 sales. I think that's fair. So you want 3 sales. Yeah. So if you know these numbers, Cody, then if you're not getting these numbers, guess what you know what to do. So look, if the CTR is you change the ad. If the lead cost is that also typically is the ad as well, because like, remember, if you're getting more clicks, you're gonna have a lower lead cost. So typically lead cost and the CTR, it's the ad. If you fix the ad, you're gonna have what? Lower lead costs. Why? Because you're getting more clicks.
So it's not usually the targeting that's the problem.
It can't, it's very rare, but if you're not even getting this, like think of it, if you're getting 1 to 3% on this, then that means people are interested. Because you're not getting this, that tells me people are not interested in your ad. So you're showing it to people and they're like, I'm good.
And I'm just burning cash.
You're burning cash. If you have an app issue, what's the issue typically? Messaging. Okay. If you have a sales issue, what's that? Well, you probably fucking suck at sales. So it's very straightforward, bros. Ads is very straightforward. So if you look at this one, for example, like this is too high, $22, too high. This one here, you got nothing, too high. This one here, that's actually decent, right? But we could look at it. So like, let's see what we did here. You did an engagement, you ran it to IG, okay? You had good lead cost. So like this here, when I'm looking at this, more than likely, if this didn't work, what I'm starting to think is, hey, this is probably a messaging issue. Like, and I could be wrong, but you're getting way better lead costs on this up here. You're like this. I don't give a how good these leads are. There's no way. Like you're. So what I want you to understand is like, if you're running the ads and you want to test a new ad, you would just come in here. And what I would do is I'd turn off the ad sets that aren't working. I would then duplicate a new one. Okay, so then we're not gonna use this, but let's say I duplicate it. And then once I duplicate it, I publish it and I change the ad out. So what they did is they took this and they duplicated it and they copied it, and then it has the same ads. So what I would do is let's say I duplicate this, okay? So these ads here, or these ad sets, excuse me, didn't work. So if I wanna try to get a new ad set to work, I would duplicate this. Okay, and then I would basically come to this ad and I would change out the ad. Okay, so because your ad's not working, them duplicating a new audience, these are audiences, so I wanna make sure we're clear. The campaign is like, it's just the objective. So like I can say this is Halloween objective, doesn't even matter. The ad set's the audience, okay? The ad is what people see. So if you have a low CTR, changing the audience doesn't matter. If because what we've seen is every single audience isn't working, which means it's an ad issue. Now, if it was like 50-50 and you had some audiences working and some that did it, then you would change the audience. But the issue right now is that the ads work. So we've already touched on the ad. Let's look at some of your targeting, okay? All this is here as a lookalike. And you're pushing everything to Instagram, by the way, okay? This is a lookalike audience of your contact list. What that means is they uploaded your contact list and then they said, 5 people somewhat similar to the contact list. So typically they're supposed to be decent, okay? This is say they're targeting women 30 to 50, and then they're layering it with household income, okay? Something else I would change, I'm not gonna touch this, but like they say all languages, I would change this to English because ultimately you just want English, okay? And that's pretty much it on that. So if I was your ad agency and I was giving you advice based on this, the issue is the ad, and the ad needs to be at 1 to 3%. Them changing the audience makes no hill of beans difference in my personal opinion, because your CTR is so fucking low, it doesn't really matter. Now, with that being said, you could look at old data. You could look at old data and look at the CTR. So if we look, you've always had a pretty low CTR. So that's not 100% a problem if you're getting low lead costs. But if you're not getting low lead costs, that's a fucking big problem.
Yeah.
Right? So like here, let's look at this. This is a $7 lead cost. Your CTR fucking sucks. But it doesn't matter because you're getting a low lead cost. But if you even look here, like look at, do you see this one? 1%, $3 cost per click. Look at this one, 0.3, $7, $6, $48. What the f? Like that's fucking insane. So you need the CPC, cost per click, to be typically around $3. So if you look here, that's $4. This is too high, dude. So what we're really trying to make sure is like you have a high CTR and a low CPC. If the CTR is good, then you got to look at the messaging. If you're still having issues, then you got to kind of look at maybe what John is doing. Because part of like what I like what John's doing is like he's getting a lot of flack, but at the same time he gets really high quality leads because he's like, yo, if you don't make $100K a month, like off.
Well, and that's what I was asking, if it might be somewhat of an avatar issue, because like at least this is my thought on it, right? When you're going fitness, like if I'm putting stuff out of my profile, recently I've been doing more like cloning of stuff that went viral.
I mean, what I've seen just on average is typically for whatever reason, bro, it's like I feel like guys struggle going after women more just because like the women don't relate to you as much. But I mean, you're doing it organically, right? So it's like
this is where it shifted though. So this is where it was interesting. I had worked with 75% women up until maybe July, August, and then more men started trickling in. So like what I found, women are easier to close, maybe harder to get on. Guys are harder to close because, especially with, again, it might be more of a limiting belief, but I think when a lot of the guys get on there coming from like a bodybuilding background, they don't want to look like a bitch on the call. So they're not emotionally opening up about anything. So I'm like, well, so why is this important to you, Steve? Oh, I just want to lose my belly. And then you try to peel those layers back and they won't get to like, well, my looking small now. You know, they won't get to the stuff that actually stings. Some open up, but those are usually the ones that buy, right? Yeah. And that may, again, be a sales issue, but it's just something I noticed from...
Yeah, I mean, like, I like guys just because it's more logical. Like, I don't get very emotional in my sales calls. Like, I really don't. I'm just like, look, dude, like, let's cut the like, here's what you're struggling with, here's the issue. But, like, here's what I would recommend is, well, we don't need to show this anymore. It's like, you can use the ad company, but, like, what I want you to understand is, like, you have to understand what the issues are. So, like, right now, if you want that ad company to run your ads, that's fine. But the concern I have is like so based on what I showed you, it's like I feel like you could just run it yourself and you learn more from running your own ads than you would someone else doing it. And what I think you would learn is like for example, what I just showed you, it's like, well, the ad's not good enough. So then now if you were doing it yourself, you're like, all right, I got to shoot new ads, I got to do this, and then like eventually when the ad gets fixed, you're getting leads, and you're like, all right, so the leads aren't good enough, so. Like, let me double check my messaging. Let me make sure I talk to Tanner and whoever, like, help me on my messaging. And then that's like, if the messaging's bad, you fix it. If it's good, then it's like, all right, well, maybe the lead, the ad is calling out the wrong person. So then you change that.
Then it's a targeting issue.
Okay, so now if you're getting a good lead cost, there's only two issues. It's your messaging or it's quality. Now, most people want to always blame quality because that's the lazy thing to do. It's like, oh, I can't control anything. So the first thing is really make sure, like, 100% certain, like you have to be, that your messaging's on point. Okay? If it's not, then if it's a quality issue, what do you think you do if you have good lead costs? What do you do next?
Well, then we'd have to call them out. So figure out, I guess, why they're coming in there.
So tell me what you would change though. So you have an ad, you have leads, you have application close. Which of those four do you change?
Well, that would technically be the ad then, wouldn't it?
The ad, correct. So then we go back to the ad. When we change the ad, it's like, hey, our CTR is good, but we're getting a bunch of business. That's all you have to do to get this to work, bro. Like there's no fucking funnel. There's no fucking, like even if you wanted to change your VSL, if you're running your ads to Messenger.
Well, I never liked VSL anyways. So like
right. So if you wanted to, could you look at like John VSL? Like, hey, maybe I'm going to make it more stringent. But at the end of the day, if you can get this to work, you're good. So your whole issue is the ad CTR. And then it's auditing the messaging and then going back to the ad. So like, even what I showed you there, unless you do you have a basic understanding of Ads Manager, like how to change out the ads?
More recently, yes. Like I'm not opposed to learning it, right? But it was really confusing at first because when I was hiring them on, when you have both running and they're like, do this, it's right in here. And I'm like, I don't have that option. I'm like, because I was under my personal account. So like once I got that part figured out.
So realistically, it's like, if you can go in your Ad Manager and you know how to change out the ad, and you know how to change the text, and you know how to pick a different audience, like that's all ad agencies are doing, bro. They're not, it's like not very complex.
Well, then I could take that same money I'm spending on them and put it back in the ads.
Right. Or at the very least, like, because you saw that, to me, they ran the ad sets too long, you could turn it off and test something else. Okay. Like, if the ad's gonna work, it's gonna work. Like, you only need to spend probably like $100 to $200 to know if an ad's gonna work. That's it. Like, and usually 100, because if you're testing 6 audiences and it doesn't work on any of the audiences, it's like, bro, it's probably not a good ad.
Yep. Okay, so then if it's working, and then I would have other things to work down the chain. If once
so I mean, but this is pretty much your entire process from here, bro. Get the CTR above 1%. Okay. Once it's above 1%, if you're getting leads but you're not closing, it's a messaging issue. Okay. If it's still, and you have to verify, this is more than likely the issue. 80% of the time. Okay. And let's say, hey, I check your message, I'm like, it's perfect. Yeah. Then it's a quality issue where you just have to have an ad that's more severe, where it's like John Matt, hey, if you don't make $100,000 a year, don't fucking click on my shit. Yep. That's an example. Yep. And then you just do that. That's all you do forever. Yep. I mean, that's literally it, bro. So it's like, because once you're getting a decent amount of leads, you're gonna get good leads, you're gonna get bad leads. It's how it always works. But your issue right now, from what I've seen, you're not getting leads in general. And then probably when you did get leads, it was either a messaging issue, or it was just like you weren't getting enough quality because of what the ad was. You're in a good spot, but like if you just focus on those simple things like CTR, and then once you get the CTR fixed, if the ads aren't working, look at your messaging first. That's usually 80% of it. And then if that's not working, you go back and you make a new ad that has a higher tie down or like a harder tie down. And that's pretty much it. And then obviously, like, it could be your application as well as like if you're getting people on calls and they, you know, like
toothless monsters.
Yeah, you just are like on the application, be like, can you put down at least $1,000? Like one of my applications for elite closers now, it says, can you spend at least $5,000 over the next 6 months with 20% down? Straight up, I'm like, that's the minimum. You can't do $800 a month off. That's it. Yeah.
Well, and the one thing I noticed too when I was, and I don't know if you guys noticed this, but that's why I prefer to keep them on Instagram. Whenever I run Facebook ads, it's like it brings out toothless monsters.
We've noticed that recently as well. So we've tested it, but like we used to run all of our traffic on Facebook like $500,000 a month. Now it's all IG.
So what is your cold KPI?
Cold KPI is lower. I'm getting a Claydex. Cold KPI is lower. So typically on ads, it's 0.5 per hour is the bare minimum. If it's on cold, it's 0.1 to 0.2.
Okay, so it is lower, like 0.1 to 0.2.
100%.
Okay, see, long story short, but like I got my Instagram shut down because I had big ass mouth, right? So like, I went against the masses, right? And they squelched my ass. I was getting like 3 story views with like 60,000 followers, right? So it was great. Yeah, you know. And so anyways, I've been a good little doggy for like 2 years, and it finally crawled out of the hole. And I had a couple reels go viral with like 9 million views, but it's just funny, right? Which I'm like, okay, that's probably not bad because it humanizes me, right? I don't look like this big meathead. And then I like to try to bring my wife into it too. So, okay, it builds some familiarity with like women. Okay, he's not just this big goon, because if that's who I'm selling, at least, 50% of my people to. Now, is it wrong to keep pumping out that to keep the eyes on? Because my engagement was low, man. It was down to like 0.1 on Instagram. And we're doing most of the cold.
What out? I'm sorry.
The virality type things rather than a value, because value stuff doesn't seem to
I mean,
engage.
Dude, so I played, but I played that game. So because I've done shout outs, and so a lot of my engagement is not great on my profile, but my team actually says, like, when I do like this, like these types of things, we get way better sales because people are like, oh, that's good, etc. So I would say stick with the value, especially if you're going to start running ads, because when they go there, if they see that, it's better. Like we tried that, and I would say like the company makes more money when it's like value. Okay.
So should it be a blend like that just until I get enough engagement up? Because it was pretty bad. I was at like 0.1.
I wouldn't even worry about engagement. Like, bro, if you look at my engagement on my IG, it's not good at all. Okay. Because it's been ruined by shout outs. But my team tells me, they're like, bro, like we get, like when you're posting this, we get crazy conversation. So like at the end of the day, it's like, do you want to look like successful or do you want to be successful? Like, like in a perfect world, I'd have both. But the reality is, like, if you really want to super engage social media, in my opinion, usually it starts with YouTube. Like you build a great YouTube, you're gonna build other stuff.
Okay. Yeah. And that makes sense. So with that, I mean, it's helped from like an engagement standpoint, because now I don't have to pay for shout out followers, right? I have enough influx coming in, because I was getting net negative. Like I'd get negative 50 followers a day, and then I'd get maybe 30 increase. So now we at least have new eyeballs to message on the daily. So that's helping there, but I can throw some more value stuff in there.
I just say like at the end of the day, the one thing too is like, remember when you're asking questions, it's coming from my expertise. Now, if you're like, hey, when I do this, I get better results. Well, that's all that matters. But my personal experience and where it's coming from is when I do like the viral etc. Yeah, I get more eyeballs, but it doesn't get us the people who want to buy our shit. And like end of the day, when I started doing that again, not only do I feel better, which is part of why I started doing this, but like this makes great content, but people like it, bro. They just are like, yo, that's like good. And it's like easy for Thanasi to like cut this up into a YouTube video and reels and stuff like that.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
And then on that, do you typically have your setters working multiple platforms, or do you keep like the setter on a particular?
Usually they're on one, so it'll be like, and again, it's like where you're doing it now, they could switch probably, but like typically it's like, all right, I'm doing organic Facebook, I'm doing Instagram messages. Like it's usually, but I have a lot of volume. So keep in mind, like when the volume's less, they can do more. So where you're at, they can probably do both. Okay. But there just needs to be a reason for it. Like why are they doing both? And if it's like, hey, we want to send 20 messages here and then go here and send 20 messages, something like that. But yeah, where you're at, you could do it with higher volume. You stay one place because it's like anything. It's like the human brain. If you're switching back and forth and shit, it's just it's a lot to handle.
Well, and then on that too. So with kind of where I'm at, obviously, like getting the ads too, but keeping them focused primarily on Instagram since that's our main money maker. That would make sense.
Yeah, I mean, like we don't get as much from Facebook as we do from Instagram, but we also we run all our ads on Instagram. So
okay, and then also like with the staffing I had. I don't want necessarily reasonable. So like I'm not at bad income for the staffing I have. What would you usually see like the potential of the staff I have on hand for income levels, and when would I need to branch out and hire more in?
Well, so like setters really typically you're looking at, I mean, even at the high end, you're looking typically for like a messenger. I don't know, like 2K part-time, 4 to 5K full-time. I mean, absolute max, right? If I have a manager, they might make a little more, but yeah.
Okay. And then as far as like business outputs, like staffing wise, with what I have on hand, is that reasonable with my on hand staff to push like that 75 to 100K months, or would I need new hires in potentially?
Probably to get to 75, 100, you need a couple setters and then like a coach. I mean,
more than I have, or
how much do you have right now?
So two setters, the one late outreach, and then one other coach.
So if you switch from organic straight to ads, then no. But if you're going to try to keep the revenue you're making and ads, you probably will have to have 2 new ones.
Okay.
Maybe one more, but yeah, like it's like you can't do 2 things and have the same output. It's like if you're like doubling the fucking output.
Well,
so for me, like I was doing all organic and then I switched to 100% ads, but I wish I hadn't done that. I wish I had kept like someone doing organic and someone had been doing ads in a perfect world.
Okay. And then email is usually not something. I'm just, again, like with ads, I'm not familiar with it. How important is it at this level? And is it something I should?
If you're gonna run ads, you definitely need it.
Okay.
So like what you could do is like, I don't know if you have stuff set up, but if you don't, you could go to elite360.io. It's $97.
No, I have that in there. So I have like your guys' automations and stuff.
You just need to set that shit. I mean, and it's set for coaches. So like it should be, if you need help, ask the support, but it should be as simple as like you click a button, you get the snapshot, you go and you edit the emails, you're done.
Yeah, and I edited the ones you guys have in there. Would you recommend branching out past those or just utilizing those?
Fine, bro. Okay, it's fine. Yeah, you don't need anything. You just need to have something because it's like at the very least you might get a couple calls. There's no reason not to have it.
Yeah, I think that pretty much covers most of the stuff I wanted to cover, man.
Right,
I think that it was very useful. He went through everything, and ads are the biggest bottleneck, right? But it's just knowing the business, knowing the numbers. So, in my newness to this industry, or the high ticket world, that hasn't been my forte, right? So everything I've learned wasn't necessarily correct. There was missing pieces. So filling in those gaps, now I know what to do in my own business to get the numbers where I need them to. And it's simpler than it might actually have seemed prior to this, because I'd look at them as daunting, but it's like when you just break down to the numbers, it's not emotional. From the perspective, like he's just at a higher level, and I needed to see like validation, like, is what I'm doing working? Well, that part, yes, but I want to see where the weaknesses are too. And like, obviously he just doesn't, he'll call this out. So like, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks. Good, okay, cool. Like, I'm looking at it going like, well, they say it's gonna work. And it's like, no, dude, that sucks. Like, okay, yeah, cool. All right, we don't need to do that anymore. And so I just like when people are real. Finding people that will actually point out the wrong with it and call it out is a very rare trait these days. And if you get it from somebody higher up than you, if they look at it and everything's good, you should be making more money. You're probably either full of shit or you're making more than you think, right? So yeah, this was good, very good. I'd recommend it to anyone. I mean, I've had success with every course I've went through with them, like the systems, and they're like indirect byproducts of Tanner. They're not even like directly with him. So, you know, I figured this would be useful too, because every time I spent money on him, I've made more money back. So coming to actually see him and see what his thought process was, it just makes more sense.